Welcome to this edition of From Washington for Friday, May the 2nd, 2014. As I'm sure you know, the administration released its Transportation Reauthorization Bill earlier this week. There are many parts of this legislation that are good for our industry and, more broadly, good for our country. The legislation returns stability to the trust funds by putting in new revenue, as well as giving us a 4-year bill that makes planning and operations much simpler for those involved in the direct administration and operation of transportation programs. We're concerned that Congress will be able to find the necessary ability to work together to carefully consider this legislation and to resolve these issues at least on a much longer term basis than we've been dealing with it in the past. The stop and go approach of financing transportation by extending current legislation is never a suitable alternative to a good bill that lasts for a much longer length of time. I think that we all know that over the last several years, many of our constituents, many of our members have expressed their frustration with the way the program has been operated because of the financial cycle that we've been in. Congress really needs to support us in this effort, and we've been in contact with members of the House and Senate over the last year, emphasizing why and how vitally important moving this legislation forward is, not just to those who operate the systems that we do, but also the people who need and use them. In looking forward to our upcoming expo, we want to revisit the important parts of our legislative dialogue with Congress that we feel are important in the run-up to this reauthorization. When it comes to some of the most important things that transit does, in our ability to help Americans go to work, or in our ability to help Americans, especially our older people, come and go to health care, there can be nothing more important than Congress taking a look at these issues and concerns as they deal with a proposed transportation, or for that matter, any other bill. You know, conservatives are always good about telling us about how they want Americans to go back to work. And I followed with interest, as I hope you did, much of the dialogue about why Congress has taken so long to do something about extending unemployment benefits or considering raising the minimum wage. They say that their primary concern is to get people to work. Our response to that is a good transportation bill is the number one way to put people to work. One, by the jobs in construction and building equipment that is essential to the transportation industry. And secondly, that the transportation systems that our members provide bring people to work every day. So if you're interested in getting Americans to work and helping people that have been unemployed for a while get back into the workforce, it's through affordable transit, community services at the state and local level that make that possible. So that's an argument that we've been using in support of why this transportation reauthorization is so important. The administration was kind enough to reach out to us to tell us about this legislation before they introduced it. And we were able to release a press release, which I hope that you've seen, that's on our website, that speaks to how important we think this is and how appreciative we are that they've taken this important step. Our concern about this legislation is where our concern has been for the last several years, and that's with the revenue side of the financing that we all know is critical to our needs. Although we've supported things like raising the gas tax, the administration in their proposal has decided instead to rely on a financing mechanism that is based on the repatriation of dollars under the tax code that would return to the United States from people who have made investments overseas as a way of hiding their assets. We're not exactly sure that this is the best solution for transit, and we're not exactly sure how much money is really out there that would fit into the scenario that's outlined in the bill. But we're supporting any revenue of any kind that we can get someone to support to come into the mechanisms needed to solve the overall financial crisis that we face. Unless Congress does something significant soon, we do face the prospect, the very real prospect, of not having enough financing in the trust funds to pay both the highway and transit bills that are due and the services that the government has already committed to. So we're supporting doing something now, and we're also supporting doing something that isn't a short-term bill, but much longer. As we look toward the future, I think it's important that we consider our role as an educator in terms of the political participation of our members in the legislative process. We've spent a lot of time over the last year and a half listening to our members about their considerations and concerns in the transit and other transportation programs. We know that these complex issues are often very hard for people to understand, particularly even those people who are elected to public office. Let's face it, talking about highways or public transit or how we pay our bills or the matching ratios or the rules and regulations associated with transit are often hard to understand. Coming up at this expo, we want to spend our time with you and our state delegates addressing simpler ways to communicate these messages and to communicate the vital importance that community and public transit provides in solving problems that communities face every day. So we have some new ideas, which I'll be discussing later in a separate video message for you and our state delegates as we begin to prepare for the upcoming expo this year in St. Paul. I can report to you that we've already had another of our expo meetings, and Bill Shoemaker was here, and we have already very, very good attendance, pre-registered, and very good attendance for our upcoming trade fair. Things look good on the expo front for the coming expo that we're looking forward to shortly. In addition to that, we've been consistently moving forward on some of the other changes we said we were going to make this year that improve the services we offer, as well as the activities and information we provide. I hope that all of you are enjoying the good content and information that we're making available through the electronic means at our disposal and the several of the last really great issues you've seen from us on CT and Rail Magazine. As a matter of fact, this week, there's another issue of Rail almost ready to go out, and another issue of CT dealing with medical transportation, both of which I know you're going to find interesting and informative. So I'll be in touch soon about plans for the delegates meeting. I hope that you will take a few minutes in the next several days to drop an email or a letter to the White House thanking them for their support of public transit and community transportation in their reauthorization proposal, because it's really a good idea to say thanks to them for stepping up to the plate after such a difficult period for many of you and our members. Thanks, and I'll be in touch shortly. Bye for now.